How do you even get your taxes done?
I have an accountant, like a good Jew.
I have one too, and he's the kind that like will lie for me.
Yeah,
I could be wrong.
What other
about
kind
this,
of accountant is there?
Do you want to know my corrupt move with taxes these days?
I don't know if this is the best thing for you to be doing. This is probably not the best way. Let's go in another direction.
No, this is a good one. I stopped filing my taxes until the U.S. government has collected all of my 1099s.
Not the best financial advice, but it's something.
Don't come to me for financial advice. Yeah. I'm just telling you how I'm trying to save a buck.
Listen.
Well, all right. Battle raps cause I've shaken grown men to the point that they can't even face their own friends. That's why they rhyme about jewels, not life, cause the ice on which they skating is so...
Let's go, baby. Welcome back to the Party with Strategy podcast, live from Scottsdale, Arizona. It's a nice time out here. This is a nice place to be for a Chicago boy in the middle of January. We're just out here unemployed, drinking long drinks while the sun is up, starting it off right. We got Gatsby in the control center seat. And I'll tell you, you were 45 minutes late. So me and Gatsby got to hang out for a while. And I know that he's a great podcast producer because he's easy to make chuckle. That's what makes a great podcast producer.
My favorite thing when you're watching like popular podcasts and the producers in the background dying laughing like during like a Tom Segura podcast.
Yeah, it's the best.
Yo,
please don't talk yet though. I haven't finished your introduction.
Okay.
We're here with the great and powerful, the king of confrontation, the prince of Scottsdale, the mayor of mayhem, Mr. Unimpressed himself, Benjamin Cutswell. How you doing?
Well, now I'm feeling a little insecure.
Why?
The mayor of mayhem. Oh my. I mean, that just makes me want to like reflect on myself and my reputation as a person.
You're a wild guy. I mean, I think everyone that knows you knows you're a little chaotic.
I know. And I hate thinking about it.
It's you, baby. You got to own it a little bit.
It's self-control,
Well, that's definitely not your strong suit, but it's something we could talk about. But before we get into that, I feel like we gotta answer back. It's your time to speak.
We'll get
to
that.
Things
I already know you're
getting
it. Hold on. I just want to say welcome to Arizona.
Oh, thank you.
Are you happy to be here?
I'm ecstatic to be here.
A whole month.
Other than
in Arizona.
Other than the fact that I'm unemployed, it's great.
Yeah, but you wouldn't be able to do this unless you were rich. What's that like?
Like faux rich. Like
do you know what 2024 was like for most DJs? And you're taking month-long vacations.
Like I thought I was rich before I got here. Like it was looking good, and then
it's cheap here.
Once reality set in,
it's cheap here.
Yeah,
you did the same thing you always do. Oh, it's gonna be great. We're gonna go to Scottsdale. It's gonna be so awesome. My man gets here. Right away, you can see the panic on his face. Oh my God.
I'm freaking out.
I'm spending so much money. I don't have a job. What am I done? I need gigs. And now he like doesn't want to do anything. He needs to go out. I need to get work. I need gigs. It's so frustrating. You're like a child.
There's only so much
You did the same thing with our road trip. And I'm not going to let it happen. You're going to have fun while you're here.
There's only so much suppression of the Jew brain that you can do before it kicks back in. You know what I'm saying? Like I can hold it down, I can shut it off, but then once you get here and you realize that you got to pay for Ubers because you can't fucking drink and drive in this fucking goddamn place, which is a Chicago staple. I'm paying for Ubers now,
it's
back
so
and forth
cheap.
Everywhere. I gotta
go.
You
live a mile from the club.
Now the hot spots are on the other side of Scottsdale Road, so I can't fucking walk in 40-degree weather with my jacket on. I don't have the proper fucking Canada Goose to do it. I'm taking Ubers for across Scottsdale Road to Old Town. It's a whole thing. And I started realizing that I'm going to need a couple bucks.
I think that I'm on like some weird spectrum of Judaism because
you're definitely on a couple spectrums.
The brain cell that never developed is the caring about money part.
Yeah.
My favorite thing is to just burn the house down.
You're a bad Jew.
Yeah.
And that's just what it is.
I grew up around like very good ones and very bad ones. I think like our generation is like the first generation.
Break that down for me. What's the difference? Now, here's a good clip. Here's a good clip.
Like, there's we're not clipping this.
What's the difference between a good
there's
Jew
like
and a bad Jew? Let me get it out so we can clip it.
No, there's like the ones that had like, you know, like mothers that coddled them, did everything for them, folded their clothes, like they don't know how to cook their own meal, like blah, 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 and like they like really like over nurture you and take care of you. And then there's the ones that like had like divorced moms that were just like angry yeah, exactly, angry all the time and like broke and like no life advice and just like chaos and like you moving all the time and having children that become DJs.
So
that's what I mean.
Which one of those scenarios is the good Jew and which one's the bad Jew? Because like over coddling could make you a worse person. I can
tell you, I'm having more fun.
Well, which one are you, and which one is
I think
which?
It's pretty fucking clear which one I am.
You're just a bad Jew in general.
I think, yeah, it's okay. It's funny. I have like those friends that were like coddled and shit, and they'll send me texts on a Friday night. They're like good Shabbos. I'm like, I'm at the club. Like, what do you, like, they're like texting before the sun goes down. And I'm like, what are you talking about?
Yeah.
I don't even know the proper, like, Hebrew reply. Like, you know, it's like, there has to be, like, some, like, I'm going to get this wrong, like, assalamu alaikum. And then there's the appropriate reply.
Shalom.
Shalom is logo by peace. It can't be, like, I don't know. Anyways,
it's l'chaim.
Like also like on like the New Year when they like say like Shana Tova, I'm like to you too, like throwing like the Star of David emoji.
Uncomfortable with it,
like,
even.
I have no idea what I'm doing.
Yeah.
Like I remember my older brother refused to get bar mitzvah, and so of course I did too. You know, peer pressure and all that, and it's like you're throwing away 10 grand in free cash. My cousins had like baseball themed bar mitzvahs with like a retired player would show up and sign balls or something and they'd walk away with 10 racks. From my bar mitzvah, I was bad with money.
That was our first mistake, was not having bar mitzvahs.
Yeah.
I would have a nicer cushion right now. I'd be less worried right now.
Did you do the free trip to Israel?
No.
Me either.
I'm
going to go on my own. I'm going to do it my way.
I'm not a big paperwork guy. There was multiple times where I went onto that website and I went to go fill out the forms and like, that is not for me.
Yeah.
If once I have to submit online forms, I'm out.
How do you even get your taxes done?
I have an accountant, like a good Jew.
I have one too. And he's the kind that like will lie for me.
Yeah.
I could be wrong.
What other
about
kind
this,
of accountant is there?
Oh God. I've sat down with a few and they're like, oh, I can't do that. Like blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, the thing is when like a certified accountant like tells the US government that this is what it is, they tend to believe them because they're supposed to be like a good steward of their business.
They've taken an oath.
They've taken an oath. But the reality is that's not true. They'll pretty much do anything.
Yeah.
Do you want to know my corrupt move with taxes these days?
I don't know if this is the best thing for you to be doing. This is probably not the best way. Let's go in another direction.
No, this is a good one. And I hope somebody comments and tells me how crazy of an idea this is. But I stopped filing my taxes until the U.S. government has collected all of my 1099s.
What does that even
wait months at the risk of paying interest so that then they're telling me what I made versus me telling them what I made.
So the U.S. government is your accountant.
So you go, like you can go on the IRS and you can do an audit and you can see all the income that was reported under your either social security number or
S corp or business
VIN,
or whatever.
Not VIN,
EIN.
EIN. Thank you. And they'll say these places reported this much money.
Right.
So then you do your taxes based around that number.
Yeah.
Because you play these clubs all over the country. Like you think like so-and-so in whatever city like actually took the time to take that 1099 or W-2 and submit it to the government and report the $1,000? No. So like whatever, if the government is saying you made this much money versus you going and saying I made X, then you're potentially saving yourself a lot of money worth the interest that can accrue in that time it takes them to collect that information.
Yeah. Not the best financial advice, but it's something.
Don't come to me for financial advice. Yeah. I'm just telling you how I'm trying to save a buck.
Listen, I need you to save something else. I need you to save face here because we were talking last night and there's pieces to this story, this ongoing saga that are new to me. And I think that the people need to know you need to set the record straight. You need to come forward and you need to tell OMG Parker what really happened that night.
I don't care to talk about that. Like, who cares? We're talking about a gig from September 29th, 2023.
Yeah.
Like,
it's a storyline
that
deserves
that
justice.
story is a toddler. That story is about to go into pre-K. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's not even interesting. We're talking about a guy I met one time who I DJ'd with, you know, and I didn't even call him out on the internet. He called himself out on the internet.
You told the story and he took ownership of
he did.
Who he was speaking.
And we've been in touch recently. Look, like I said to you before, if I'm going to talk about that story, I want him present. Because I think we need to have a conversation about my perspective and his perspective, and like we can both learn from it.
I would love that.
Yeah, let's make it happen.
I would love to moderate that debate.
I don't need to clap back at someone when they're not here. You know, and I'm not even clapping back. I'm just like,
it's not clapping back. It's you had viable information that was not told in the original story.
Let's do a call-in. You know what I mean?
No, not a call-in.
I think got to fly to Nashville to talk to an opening DJ.
I think that he'll fly here.
Okay.
He'll fly here.
He's staying on your couch.
He's not staying anywhere. He's coming, he's doing the pod, and he's going back home.
The same day? Yeah. One day turnaround just to squash some opening DJ nonsense?
Yeah. I think it's
I would say this. It was the first time I ever did... This is so sad. Oh my God. You want to know how sad this is? This is the first time I ever contributed to the national discussion of open format DJing.
That's not true.
It's totally true. If you think about a lot of these people have brought up topics publicly or things or incidences that we've gone on to discuss at length over extensive periods of time. And that was the first thing where I called no hands a hitter. You know what I mean? And then every DJ in the country was debating it. And that's my legacy. It's pretty fucking pathetic.
Shouts to Long Drink for sponsoring the podcast. Absolutely the best cocktail you can get out there. That's exactly what it is. A cocktail in a can. It's not a seltzer, as you can tell. It's not one of those stupid, long, skinny cans that makes you look like an idiot stick when you're drinking it. This is good stuff. Anyone I give one of these to asks me what it is, where they can get it, and why they haven't had it before. I'm putting people on. You guys are next. Thank you for watching. Enjoy the program. Go to your local liquor store. Target's got them. Wherever you can. Grab a long drink today. Enjoy. Watch the pod. Let's get back to it. Thank you. You did leave the game shortly after that. It did kind of feel like that was your mic drop.
It was, yeah. It's true. I've gone dark.
You've gone rogue. Let's talk about it. I mean, what's going on? You were doing very well in the game. You were playing the game fruitfully, traveling the country, working in Vegas, running Scottsdale for years and years and years. And then you just got sick of it, sort of, I feel like. And you just realized that you're like, it's not what it used to be. It doesn't make me feel good anymore, which is all things that I've gone through. And I was in the thick of it when we did when we did Dex's platform pod.
Mm-hmm.
And I talked all about it. I mean, after that, I was getting messages for months when I was posting gigs, people saying I thought you were done DJing, you know? Because I was just fucking so sick of it at the time.
Well, I think maybe with you, it was more that you stopped being an asshole on the internet. And you were finding a new way on the internet because you were stopped putting stickers on girls' breasts for a living and started making actual DJ content and being a respectable human being and falling in love and getting cats and shit. And now you're staying in an Airbnb in Scottsdale wasting money.
I did drive the cats. We did drive the cats.
Are you
30
better
hours. I'm 100% better off. But also...
So, okay. So, what's funny is I trashed my career in 2024.
What do you mean trashed?
I'll get to that in a second. And
yeah, just keep waiting.
It coincided with one of the largest downturns in our market that we've seen since 2008 through 10. So I don't really know that if I kept pushing, how much I would have accomplished over 2024 as a DJ, because there was such a huge downturn in the market that it might have made me like really depressed, because I would have been fighting to like keep gigs going, stay on the road.
But I don't care about the what ifs. I want to know what was actually going through your mind. Like, what made you?
I mean, it's not so much a what if. It's kind of like I was able to like hide it because everybody else was pretty quiet too. Does that make sense?
Sure, but I want to know what actually, like, what are the
Dad,
what
I'm
are the
gonna tell
true
you, all right?
fucking feelings?
What's the rush?
There's no rush. I'm just trying to point you in the right direction. You fucking
You're
psychopath.
asking me to like open up about this real personal shit here. So
that's what this podcast is. We're fucking authentic, and I'm trying to connect with people, and I'm trying to connect with you.
Roller?
I don't.
Oh,
and
it's so
it's
tight.
It's bad.
We should like pause to foam roll.
I don't have one.
So
I'll massage you if you
Okay,
want. We could do that on the pod. I will massage you while you're talking.
okay, I
if
mean,
that's
all
what
right.
you need.
It started in September of 2023. Okay. And I made
September 29th by any chance?
no wait. Oh no, sorry, wait, October.
Okay.
October, because it was after that trip.
Yeah.
Remember I told you on that trip, and you guys like on a podcast with Deck.
The platform. That's what I was just talking about.
Yeah. So
Deck.
I told
DEK.
Yeah, I told Declan.
Dex.
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 Right, but isn't his name Declan?
Yeah.
I'm not fucking that up. You make me look at that. Anyways, I told you guys on that podcast that when we ended that trip, I was going to go sober for 90 days. And
Yes.
I went sober for 89 and a half days. And during that time, I worked out 6 days a week, and I ate really clean, and I lost a ton of weight, and it was great. And I did a lot of really tough things. I DJ'd in Vegas a couple times sober, which is...
It's quite the feat.
It was easier because it was in the slow season, so it's like less like pressure. But it's also like you go out with a group of people and they're like trying to convince you to stay dinner. I also played in Chicago. I played in San Diego. I played in Sacramento. I don't know, probably a couple other places even, a bunch of cities during that time. And I held it together, and it was great. And I would say that after day 60, it felt like, all right, like, this isn't a challenge anymore. This is like, just like getting kind of excessive, because I always planned on going back to drinking. And like, I didn't drink on Christmas, and like, I couldn't have like a martini at dinner. I went to New York for Christmas, like couldn't drink there. Like went to a football game in Chicago on Christmas Eve, and the boys couldn't drink at the game in the freezing cold, And I decided to take New Year's off from DJing, and I flew to Denver with some friends and went to the Decadence out there. And I said I was going to wait till midnight to drink. I made it till about 7 p.m. on New Year's Eve, so 89 and a half days. And we had a blast. And then the biggest mistake I made was I didn't have a plan for what was next. I spent so much time focusing on the process and being in it and being sober and working out and being healthy that like I didn't come up with how I should handle myself after. And
after meaning like when you go back to
when
drinking.
I go back to drinking,
Okay.
and I went back like overboard, 100%. Classic, right? No plan. Like I even tried to like take a break again, like after a couple weeks, and I made it like 2 days or something. And like, then I started getting really depressed because all that work thrown out the window. What is my life? Can I handle this? Like, can I be in this environment? Like, who am I? Like, really like feeling pretty fucked up. And I kept traveling. I kept DJing. Then I just started being like a real like fuck it kind of attitude. I remember I went to Cabo and EDC, and like really like I've never ripped it like that before. Like the top was off.
You made up for the lost time. I mean, this is what I do every time I try and go on a diet.
It made me feel going sober and then going back to drinking, going overboard, made me feel more depressed than just where I was before the sobriety. You know, God, this sounds like someone that like has like a real problem that needs to be addressed. But I'll admit that my problem is revolves around triggers. And like, if I don't go into a nightclub, like during the pandemic, I didn't drink. You know what I mean? If I don't step into a nightclub, I don't drink. I don't drink at home. The moment I walk through those doors, it's like vodka soda right now. Like I like need it, like a fiend.
Yeah.
You know, and
I think it's partly habit. To me that it's partly like just a habit that you've built, or that I think most of us build, grinding away for years and years and years and years in a DJ career and anything that's in a nightclub
over 27 years of doing this. And I didn't start drinking until I was like 29, 30, really, like at work. And because people weren't like drinking as much back then. But, it started with like, we all used to meet up an hour before the club and like have a drink. And then that became a habit. Like I'd get to work like an hour early and like meet up with the boys and, you have a shot and a drink, and then you've showed up to work with 3 drinks in already. It's fucking insane.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
So, things started going bad at my gigs. Not because of drinking. Yes, because of drinking. The company I'd been working for.
What does that mean?
Well, like you don't handle situations as well, but when you're intoxicated, obviously, but a lot of change started taking place in the company that I was working for.
Okay.
I had new expectations. I was becoming a bit of a diva because I was traveling and doing all these things in DJing. And then I would come home and like the bartenders might not even say hello to you. You know what I mean? Or like the staff would just ignore you, or there'd be new people, or they like, I don't know, they just don't appreciate you. You're in a venue 4 nights a week. They definitely just take you for granted. And in recent experiences with some new venues that I'm working at now, like I've seen the difference in like staff environments, and like it started feeling like just not great to be there. And little things were bothering me big time, and little things that I was doing were bothering them big time. And it was like, there's no incidents or anything. It was just like, I started not fitting in with the culture of the company. Like they, were looking towards more like younger DJs that they could manage and direct. And like, I was kind of like this guy that had been there forever and did whatever he wanted and said whatever he wanted and played whatever he wanted. Because I'd been there for 13 years, at the same company. And it just started going slowly badly. And one day I had like a disagreement with a manager, and I resigned, without a plan. And again, not something I recommend at all. And it's the one thing, like, it's like moving to a city without any gigs lined up first. It's the one thing every DJ tells you not to do. I did, and I was offered other local work immediately, but I called you.
Yeah.
And I told you that I wanted my life to be different.
Yeah.
And I don't really remember how you put it, but you said that, that you asked me how much money I had saved. I told you, and you're like, you have months and months of money saved. Like, there's plenty of time to,
if you do it right,
to figure out change. Well,
if you budget correctly.
Yeah, if you budget correctly.
You left that part out.
No, this last year I've made so many financial like changes. I like first time in my life, like I learned how to like I look at the prices at the grocery store now.
Yeah.
I never did that. Like I looked at like I might be like, oh, that gas station over there is like a little bit cheaper. Like I all of my friends, even the ones with money, do all those things. I never did. I never cared. Like I just wanted to live my life. I'd go into Whole Foods and be like, what do we want today? You know what I mean? And I'd just buy whatever it was. And I made a lot of money.
I relate to that deeply.
Yeah. So I made a lot of money over those years, I had plenty of income to live like that. And then also to continue to travel and have fun and do whatever I wanted. I was a very lucky person that did very well as a DJ and worked really hard, to get there and to keep it. So you told me, you were like, well, just don't go back. Don't keep doing it. Try, you have time to figure it out. And I was like, okay, yeah. and I had started doing some stuff with cannabis marketing. And hell yeah, brother. Hit that vape pen. Shout out Timeless. Let's go, Timeless. So,
Now I'm just too high to talk.
no, so I spent the whole year like going down the rabbit hole of like 100 different businesses and ideas and like trying things out and like finding out like what was real, what wasn't real. And I had this whole goal to make DJing 30% of my income instead of 100% of my income. And now I'm like working with this one company and I realized like it does not happen overnight. Like, yes, I can go get a job somewhere, but if I want to continue to live my previous lifestyle as like the freedom that I had, those things take a long time to
The
build.
freedom end of being a DJ is one of the biggest perks, because like I look at all my boys who are extremely successful in all of their entrepreneurial business ventures, but they're fucking grinding.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Yeah.
Like grinding
Yeah.
hours, 12
Yeah.
plus hours a day outside of the crib, like
Right.
going hard.
Right. Like I'm doing this like targeted digital marketing stuff for cannabis. And, you know, we're dealing with really large companies that move really slow. And we have tons of meetings and it can take 4 or 5 months to close something that seems so simple. You know what I mean? And like I have no experience in that world. And like I don't know what I'm doing. You know, like some days I'm like, oh my God, I'm 41 years old and the only thing I've ever done is DJing. I've been DJing since I was 14, you know, and I don't know where to begin in life. And like I felt really lost this year as a result of it. And I put a lot of effort into a lot of things that they didn't go anywhere, you know, and like I've got to make money like everyone else. So I recently started DJing like 3 nights a week again, and with a company that I fucking love.
Yeah.
And with people that I love. And I'm like, they made me a promise. They were like, you're going to show up to work every day with a smile on your face. I didn't ask them that. They just said that when they were asking me to come on. And
Because they knew where you came from.
they knew where I came from and what was going on with me personally. And they were right. I am happy. Am I drinking too much again? Yes.
But wait, let me ask you this. So like in the turmoil of leaving the first company and all the bullshit, all the friction, all of the feeling unappreciated, all that shit, did any of that stem from, or did you also have coinciding feelings of like, I don't love DJing anymore, like DJing itself, or was it all just like culture?
So, great question. When I stopped DJing, I felt like I couldn't go back. Like I needed to make money
Because of the look or whatever?
No. I at times needed to make money this year, right? And I could have picked up the phone and gone and DJ'd at any time. And I like literally couldn't bring myself to do it. No matter how bad my like money situation was
But
getting.
why? What was that?
I like there was like a wall. Like I couldn't do. I was like no matter
Like
what.
you were nervous to DJ. You felt like you'd been out of it for too
I
long.
felt like
and
I was
lost it.
so like lost and like I can't do it. I just couldn't do it, man. I just couldn't do it. Like I couldn't be in that environment. I didn't want to play. Like I didn't want to be like I didn't want to go backwards. That's what it was. I didn't want like
You felt like that was going backwards.
You left.
That makes sense.
You left your job. You lived off your savings. You know what I mean? You've made all this effort just to go back. You know?
That makes sense.
And that was really depressing because there's an answer to all my financial problems right in front of me. DJing. And I don't, so God, I can't remember where it was. So during this time I maintained my like best accounts. I continued DJing in Vegas, continued DJing in San Diego, and it was like a sweet treat. Like I go there and be like, this is fucking awesome. You know, but of course they treat you like a king. You know what I mean? You got a billboard.
So different.
You got your face on the telephone in every hotel room in a giant casino. Like people passing tickets out with your face on it. Like you feel appreciated. They send a car to the airport, the comp dinners, like all that shit. So
yeah,
it's a completely different experience, you know, and it's a completely different thing. But I don't remember what gig it was, but it felt like a bad, like a girlfriend that you broke up with had a messy breakup, and you don't want to. Every time you try to go back to her, it's a disaster. So
Yeah. But like that's actually true in most cases. Is like toxic relationships, you shouldn't be going back to them because they were bad.
Yeah.
But like DJing is not necessarily that. You know what I'm saying?
I'm not saying that those venues that I worked for were necessarily bad or toxic, right? Like, I actually don't know. Like I'd be like, I think this is off, but I'm not sure. You know, like, is it me? And like one of like the people that like run those companies like told me to look inward. You know what I mean?
He told you to say the N-word?
To look inward.
Oh.
And I didn't really even know how to do that, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
So, and you don't know if you should trust yourself, or if you're delusional, or if they're delusional, or whatever. But I knew that I wasn't fitting in, so I moved on. And I played some gig, like, I don't know, a few months ago, and I can't even remember which one it was, but I just remember being like, oh, I'm ready. I feel good about this again. And I like had a blast. I was like connected to the set and like going in and
was
like,
it New Year's Eve?
No. It was back in like a couple months ago, a few months ago. New Year's Eve was great. Wild experience.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I want to talk about that too. I have that written down because it's a ridiculous story, but not to cut you short of the true feelings here. I like this. I like getting into the thick of it. I like hearing
the
things honesty, things that I can relate to, things that like it helps me think about all of the shit that I go through too. You know what I'm saying? Like we're in the same shit. We're doing the same shit.
Mm-hmm.
It's all, we have the same fucking feelings about everything. Feeling underappreciated, I think, is one of the most common, like resident local DJ feelings you can feel, you know?
Yeah. And if you really like dig into like even like the business side of things, like being an independent contractor is like a corrupt position unless you make a god awful amount of money.
Why? Because there's no insurance.
The numbers don't actually add up.
You don't get PTO.
You don't get contribution to your taxes. You have to pay for your own healthcare, which can be $400 a month, right?
Mm-hmm.
You have to make hundreds of thousands of dollars for it to actually make sense. Or you have to start like setting aside, like you have to be very frugal and set aside your money to do like proper investments, traditional investments, not fucking Bitcoin, Airbnbs. The most successful people in our business are really extremely responsible with their money, and they tend to invest it very maturely. You know, I don't want to like say names, but I have examples of friends. No, because it's like I'm talking about their finances. It's not my business, and I don't really know the full story. But seemingly from the outside, you can see that they have wealth because of where they're living.
You're talking about these are people you're looking up to.
People I'm looking across and up to that like have taken their money and bought multiple investment properties. You know, slowly, the boring way, over time, and gradually, granddad investments, and then now just, you know, in like a 10-year period that they can DJ at their leisure, you know, and I did not do any of that stuff. And like when I help younger DJs, like I yell, like I have younger DJs that I've taught how to DJ, and I yell at them. I'm like about every aspect of their career, because I'm like, do not be me. Do not be me. If you want between 25 and 35, you can get from A to Z, you know? And the biggest problem with our industry is a lot of these kids come from backgrounds like yours, mine, very like single moms, low income, you know, inner city, and you give them $150,000 a year and a job and a bunch of women and free alcohol, they plateau at that, and they just
you get lost. You get lost in the fun. A little
you get lost in just the lifestyle and the sauce, and
it's a good time.
Stop making the mixtapes and doing the content and reaching out to other accounts. And you know, Arizona, you can have a 5-6 gigs a week if you want, making anywhere from $300 to $600 a night, and do no work.
Yeah,
like no content. No throwing your own party, no promoting, just show up and play and leave.
Long Drink is a legendary Finnish favorite that's been around since the 1952 Summer Games. It's a deliciously refreshing blend of premium liquor, natural grapefruit flavor, and just the right amount of carbonation. Honestly, this is the stuff right here. White is sugar-free, blue is citrus, orange is peach, red is cranberry, black is extra strength, and they're all fire. New flavors dropping soon, so watch out for those. And they're just the best sponsor for this podcast. So the next time you're tuning in, make sure you crack open a Long Drink, enjoy one while you're watching the show, because good vibes deserve great drinks. Let's go, champ. We're back to the episode. Thank you guys for watching. We'll see you next time. And then, but like, you can do that and you're not necessarily helping your own brand and building anything sustainable. You're just taking someone's money who's paying you to do a good job, and then that's it.
That's it.
But if you took that money and did the right things with it, you could grow that way. You know what I'm saying? Rather than having a
right. There's one guy out here that took all the non-sexy nightclub gigs,
right,
and would do 4 shifts a week. You'd never see him. And you'd never, like, when we're coming up, like, I don't want to play at that spot.
You think he's like
making the same amount of money as I was.
Yeah, I know. And like as a young DJ, like hungry and like
you
you're looking at certain things, you're like, I want to get there, and I definitely don't want to be doing what that guy's doing.
Right.
But then there always comes a time when you get to a certain age where you're like, wait a second.
Yeah.
That guy might have had it right.
He had a day job that paid him like $100,000+ a year, more than that. It's like at a tech company. Like, I'm not saying like, I don't know, some mid-level like kind of thing. And then he would DJ 4 nights a week. So he's now making, and this is in like 2012. You know what I mean? So he's making like $250,000 a year. And I remember like him buying like a $75,000 boat at one point. Cause he could, cause he like, you know what I mean? Like, cause he like, and like born, like he was the guy that would play like the 6 to 10 shift. You know, and then
those
probably
are the sleepers,
go home sober, and wake up the next day, go to work, and be like, yeah. I have another friend that does real estate, like, and he really does real estate. He's not like someone that, like, it's
not just in his Instagram profile,
right? It's something he's been working hard on for over a decade, and like he's a lifer, and he DJs like Tuesday nights sometimes. Not a problem for him to get up the next day at 8 a.m. and go to work, like, but. It's a lifestyle choice. Like, dude, I've always chased adventure and dopamine, and like I've done so much cool shit, and I don't regret any of this. I'd like to be healthier, and I'm trying all the time, but it's not so bad, man. Like we've done some shit. Like we've seen some shit. We have access to things that nobody has access to, and like everywhere in the country and all over the world, even.
It's tight. But you have to grow. If you're not growing, then you're fucking dying. You know what I'm saying? Like you can't, as fun as it is, like if you get caught up in the fun too much, you're getting fucking held back.
There's a plateau to open format DJing. There's a certain point where you can't go any further. If you are going further, it's not your DJing. It's something else that you're doing, right?
Like what?
Like an association with a celebrity, or working for a celebrity, or being on a podcast, or becoming famous, essentially, which is no longer like what got, like, it wasn't DJing that blew you up. It was something you did along the way with DJing.
Right.
So without diving too much into that, you can grow outside of your job, and your job can stay plateaued. Like if you're making 150 or 250,000 a year as a local DJ, or maybe light travel work or whatever, you can be growing all kinds of things. You know what I mean? You don't have to like be so like, it's like toxic positivity. Like we always got to be grinding and getting on to the next level. Like
toxic positivity is the gayest thing you've ever said. 100%.
I'm a little gay.
Toxic positivity.
It's just that like that constant like, like a Instagram mentality, Gary V mentality.
Yeah.
Like
but
who's going to carry the boats?
That's
mentality.
Not even what I'm saying though. It's not like the David Goggins like just work till your fucking knees fall off type shit.
It's too much, man.
I'm just talking like you grow as a human,
Right.
not growing
Right.
in your profession,
Right.
not toxic positivity. That's bad.
It's just we're constantly. You and I are pretty. I'm not too hard on you, actually, but you're really hard on me, and so is everybody else all the time.
I think
Maybe I needed a little, but I mean, it's an easy thing to say after I just did, offloaded all this personal stuff on the internet.
Yes, of course. But here's the thing: like, I'm as hard. Think about this.
I'm choosing
just
the
want you
clips.
to
By the
think
way,
about
I'm
this.
choosing the clips.
I would love that.
I'm choosing the clips.
That's less work for me to do. How hard I am on you. That's how hard I am on myself every day in my own fucking head. Like that's all I know. You're like to me, you're like coming for advice, and I'm just giving you the advice that like I feel like I would give to myself. Like that's all I know.
I'm saying that like take it easy, man. Like dude,
I don't know if that's
I've taken a lot of like space this year from that kind of stuff, and like because it doesn't necessarily produce results. In fact, it can clog your head up so you're not thinking clearly. You know what I mean? And you got to like take a little bit of space.
I think there's a balance, like everything in the whole world.
Do you feel like you're a balanced person? Let's
be honest.
I'm
extremely balanced.
I think you've become more balanced.
For sure. Yeah. That's the whole
goal.
Thank you,
Aaron. Thank you.
Yes, of course.
Thank you so very much.
But I was seeking that out. I went for that. I was looking for that.
Banging on the ceiling.
They're doing a little construction. The Airbnb didn't say anything about the construction that they're doing at 8 a.m. after they book a fucking DJ who stays out till 4 a.m.
all the time to people.
To fucking live at your Airbnb, but they're doing construction.
I'm just trying to live, man.
I know, but bro,
dude, I think what you said about habits, environment, all that stuff, like I'm not trying to like make excuses or whatever, but there's a lot of truth to it. And
for sure.
But I was talking with someone the other day about like if you like cut yourself off from everything versus facing it, like because you're looking for peace, like do you actually have peace?
No, you're not supposed to cut yourself off from things. You have to confront them.
Right. So
you have to fucking go through it.
There's two
you have
schools
to leave
of thought.
It in,
so like
in the past.
By not being in the nightclub all year, only like one day a week, guess what I was doing? Going to bed early, getting up early, not drinking, right? So like should I go face the nightclub and try to like muscle through it and become that better person in one of the most intoxicating
I think you're thinking of it,
in the world?
You're thinking of it wrong. You have
like if someone's like not bringing you like peace in your life, are you supposed to like work out your relationship with them? Or
yes, 100%.
Or do you maybe just separate and find other people?
Well, yes, you separate, but you also have to like tie it off. You don't just leave it hanging. You have to go and
sometimes it's just better to
tie the knot
to just walk away, man.
But I mean, if you had to, if it was just like that,
take this as a warning that I will cut you out in 24 hours.
I understand that.
I will drop you
with no like explanation. You're just going ghost. I'll never hear from you again.
Do I owe you an explanation for your toxic behavior?
Yes.
No, that's for you. I don't owe you that. I don't owe you anything.
If you
just so we're clear that he's not a toxic person and I love him very much.
I think if you want your own peace so that like nothing comes back to bite you in your ass, you tie it off.
This is we're speaking in code here. This is I cut someone out of my life recently and it was over a kind of a seemingly small incident and hold on, and I didn't talk to him for like a week, and I expected it just to be a couple days, but I realized how much peace not talking to him brought in my life, and I was like, I'm not going back to that. Like, no way. Like, it was just pure chaos being friends with this person, and like, they're out there like, this person dropped like a 15-year friendship overnight over like a small incident, and it's because like I found that by not having them in my life, how much less chaotic it was.
Yeah.
And I moved on from there, you know?
Yeah.
So it's kind of scary. It's scary because it's like, you're like, wait, like, is anyone really my friend? Does anyone like actually fully have my back? Like, am I really in sync with these people? Like, is talking to strategy on the phone for an hour about my problems healthy or making things worse? You know?
Yeah,
So
for sure.
all these types of conversations, this is what I've been doing for the last year.
Yeah.
And I hope that you've seen some progress out of me, but the cliff is always right there for sure.
Just driving along the cliff.
God, I wish I knew how to sit in a chair. My girlfriend told me, because I thought we were going to be on a couch.
Yeah.
Like, sweetheart, make sure, like, a little unsolicited
prepped you?
advice. She goes, a little unsolicited advice as I'm walking out the door. Don't slouch on the couch. It doesn't look good on podcasts.
As a podcaster or producer,
I don't
she
know how to
knows.
sit. We stand for a living. I don't know what I'm doing.
Yeah.
I hate sitting.
Yeah, I have a bit of a issue right now, like my right ass cheek / leg or like sciatica or like whatever the fuck is
Okay.
all your hip and
Yeah.
like your fucking this and it's
Yo.
I feel you.
There's this wonderful like yin yoga class at Lifetime we're gonna go to.
I'm in.
You hold a stretch for 4 minutes.
Oh, I want to do that.
It's you get so deep into the stretch. It's like
I will smoke the entire 3-pack before we go in there. I will get as high as man possibly can go.
These new flavors from Timeless
Yeah.
are 48% THC pre-rolls that are infused, I believe.
Yeah.
And I give them to people that smoke a lot of weed and they're like, oh, no big deal. And they get through like half of one and they're dying. For you to smoke the whole 3-pack
Let's
would
make a
be
video.
G move.
Let's do it. I'm in.
I'm not. I'll watch.
Yeah, you watch. I
Yeah.
will go to a yoga
I'm a
class
lightweight.
as high as I can possibly get.
Yeah. I have no interest in that. So, okay. So wait, there was other things you wanted to discuss?
I wanted to touch on New Year's Eve for sure is a strong story.
If we touch on New Year's Eve, it's like starting a new OMG Parker situation.
Oh, here he goes. Here he goes. He can't help
I
himself.
don't want to call anyone out, but I don't
But
know.
you're not. Don't
I
say
don't know.
the kid's name. You can tell it's a funny story.
I didn't say OMG Parker's name either.
I mean, I don't even know who this kid is.
I don't.
Like, you didn't tell me
I
his
guess
name.
I'd met him before because I was already following him on Instagram, and I don't know the truth. Okay.
Well, let's get to the bottom of it.
I did a 5 p.m. sound check on New Year's Eve. You're not clipping this. They have to discover this on their own. I did a 5 p.m. sound check on New Year's Eve. Oh, and this is not going on Patreon either. I want this on the internet.
Thank you guys for watching. The rest of the pod's going to be on Patreon, patreon.com/partywithstrategy. $5 a month. You can see all the whole shit, everything I do in Arizona. We're putting it up there. Thank you. I appreciate you. Let's go, champ.
Well, alright. Battle raps cause I've shaken grown men to the point that they can't even face their own friends. That's why they rhyme about jewels, not life, cause the ice on which they skating is so thin. That's what I love about the human soul. It'll usually show when the truth ain't told. Use a lie.